Good evening and welcome to the Sunday edition of Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski. Let's see what's in the news today. Well, the president of the National Bank of Poland, Adam Glapiński, revealed in an interview with Gazeta Polska that Donald Tusk is to overthrow the Polish government and introduce the euro in Poland. As Glapiński added, this opinion can be heard being said backstage at the meetings of the heads of the central banks in Basel, Switzerland. In return, Donald Tusk would be appointed head of the European Commission and would help accelerate the construction of a European state.
According to the head of the National Bank of Poland, during backstage discussions, in addition to topics related to the financial situation in the world, also international politics are discussed. They show that Donald Tusk is already selected as the head of the European Commission. But first, he would have to eliminate the złoty currency in Poland. For about a year, it has been said that the task set by Brussels for Tusk is not only to overthrow the government existing in Poland and introduce our country to the course of the Eurozone. After completing these tasks, Tusk is to return to Brussels to become the head of the European Commission and implement the accelerated construction of the European state. These reports shed new light on the true intentions of the head of the civic platform. However, the most outrageous thing is making key decisions above our heads, says Tomasz Sakiewicz, editor-in-chief of Gazeta Polska. It is decided without our knowledge in exchange for a seat. It is something on the verge of betrayal. Civic platform politicians often announce that they were supporters of a quick entry to the euro area. An example is MP Izabela Leszczyna, who mistakenly predicting that PiS would lose in the last elections, assumed a quick move away from the Polish currency. We will see what the state of finances will be after PiS loses the autumn elections, and we will do everything to make it good enough for us to enter the Eurozone, because everyone who will stay outside it are doomed to failure and weaker development. Maciej Sawicki from PSL considers the issue of the position that Tusk could receive as insignificant. The prominent Polish representative in the European Council at the moment is Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and has been in charge of Poland for 7 years because PiS is in charge, not Donald Tusk. So I wouldn't even bother with what Tusk wants because there is nothing. Until now, there has been no head of the European Commission from Central Europe, which is why European Union decision-makers can look for a politician from this area who will prove to be compliant with Germany. Donald Tusk has already proved himself in this role when, thanks to the support of Angela Merkel, he became the head of the European Council. The government of Prime Minister Ewa Kopacz, which he had left behind, suddenly changed the previous arrangements with the countries of the Visegrad Group, the Czech Republic, Hungary and Slovakia, and supported the European Commission's proposal pushed by Germany that is accepting quotas of immigrants also to Poland. Joining the Eurozone would prevent the development of Poland and lead to the impoverishment of the society. This is evidenced by inter alia, examples of neighboring countries that have abandoned their own native currencies. For example, after resigning from the crown in 2009, Slovaks began to massively come to Poland for weekly shopping. We know from a report 3 years ago that the euro went bankrupt in the sense that all but the Germans suffered losses, massive losses. France, Italy, Spain, slightly the Netherlands. The Netherlands slightly gained, and Germany is the main winner. Having your own currency also gives you the opportunity to create instruments to influence inflation. The introduction of the euro in countries with such a different economic potential and legal culture is irrational and serves the most important, biggest economy, the German economy. Poland is one of the main opponents, so I am not surprised that someone who would remove this obstacle from the federalization of Europe might have been anointed. The entire conversation with the president of the National Bank of Poland, Adam Glapiński, will be available in the next weekly edition of Gazeta Polska.
The 172nd day of the war in Ukraine brought more disturbing news about the Russians' behavior. In addition, missile attacks and shelling of civilian buildings by Russian forces, tensions around the Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant are escalating. President Volodymyr Zelensky informed about a provocation possibly being planned by the Kremlin. As reported by Ukrainian intelligence, the Russians are preparing a provocation related to the Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant. Information has been released that a howitzer with a Ukrainian flag was placed nearby. Absolutely all officials of the terrorist state, as well as those who assist them in this blackmail operation over the nuclear power plant, must answer to an international court. It has to happen, and every Russian military officer who shoots a power plant or shoots under cover of a power plant must understand that he's becoming a special target for our intelligence, for our special services, for our army. Moscow keeps flexing its muscles. This time, ex-President Dmitry Medvedev threatened European Union countries with possible failures of nuclear power plants. Kiev's scum and their Western partners seem ready to arrange a new Chernobyl. Rockets and missiles are falling closer and closer to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant reactor and radioactive isotope storage facilities. We should not forget that the European Union also has nuclear power plants. There could be an accident there, too. Russians continue shelling Ukrainian cities every day. In the last 24 hours, 223 explosions took place in the Sumy Oblast alone. Eastern Ukraine is full of human suffering. I've gone deaf. It happened yesterday. One eye was closed, but now it's open. I didn't see with that eye. I have to go for a bandage change now. It's okay now. If we were on the street, I'm not sure we could talk to you right now. All the bullet elements are in the yard. We were saved by the fact that we were at home. Just that. Thanks to the Czech Republic, a debate has started in the European Union Forum on the suspension of issuing visas to Russian citizens. Poland is also in favor of such a solution, but this initiative is meeting with resistance from Germany, France, and the Netherlands. Mikhailo Podolak, advisor to the president of Ukraine, believes that a sanction of this type could actually harm Russia. Why are visa restrictions for Russians needed? 6 months of war prove they do not care about the murders, the destroyed cities, the nuclear blackmail, Bucha, or Mariupol. Conversation about a loss of visas will bring the war, the awareness of the war, and responsibility back. It is the first step to the rebellion of the Russians. Meanwhile, another transport of Ukrainian grain has started. Today, a ship with a cargo of wheat for African buyers has left the port in Yuze. Today is a very important day, mainly because the first ship, the brave commander of which is loading Ukrainian grain right now. It is the first ship to be part of the United Nations World Food Program.
Of Ukrainian grain.
The war in Ukraine has been going on for almost half a year. The aggressors assumed that they would conquer this country within a few days. However, the resistance of the Russians from Kiev and the failures of the Russian army have stopped the Kremlin's imperial plans. The heroism and determination of the defenders are not enough to win the war, however. According to experts, this can only be achieved by the supply of necessary Western weapons. And Polish and German authorities are still trying to find the cause behind a mass fish die-off in the River Oder, as a cleanup operation to remove tons of dead fish continued today.
Tons of dead fish have been found since late July in the River Oder, which runs through Germany and Poland. Both sides have said they believe a toxic substance is to blame, but have yet to identify it. Green activists and opposition politicians have criticized the Polish government for not responding quickly enough to the danger and failing to alert Poles to avoid bathing and fishing in the river that has been contaminated since late July. An analysis of river water taken last week showed evidence of synthetic chemical substances, very probably also with toxic effects for vertebrates, the German state of Brandenburg's Environment Ministry said on Thursday, adding that it remained unclear how the substance entered the water. According to local German broadcaster RBB, the state laboratory found high levels of mercury in the water samples. However, Poland has detected mercury above normal levels in samples of Oder water from the province of Silesia. No traces of the poisonous metal were found in samples taken in the West Pomeranian, Lubusz, and Lower Silesian provinces, Deputy Environment Minister Jacek Ozdoba told a news briefing late on Friday.
The Pliva waterfalls in the Bosnian town of Jajce were the stage for a spectacular annual diving contest. This year's event took place yesterday. Spectators ignored the rain to watch as the divers plunged more than 20 meters off a platform into a deep pool below the Pliva waterfall. Dino Bajric from Sarajevo took first place, while last year's winner, Evald Krinic from Montenegro, finished second.
osjećaj je nevjerovatan, to sam spomenuo I prošle.
The feeling's incredible. This is my second participation in this jumping competition. It was beautiful. Despite the bad weather, the dives took place, and despite all that, the number of the audience was huge. Everyone came with umbrellas, and we were all wet, to say the least.
Svi su došli sa
Bajdic said the location inspired competitors to do their best.
vodopad u jezgru Save.
The waterfall in the center of the old town of Yaitse is a beautiful sight. It's an environment that gives us divers even more opportunities and emotions to jump even better. But also, the audience is very close. I give my best at this place, and I come here every year and always return to Sarajevo with a medal.
Na meni najviše leži. Tako da evo.
The seventh edition of the competition in Yaitse attracted divers from Bosnia, Serbia, and Montenegro, according to Bosnia's Afina news agency, citing the organizers of the competition. As usual, thanks for joining us this evening. Please stay with us for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and other programs. But from me, it's have a wonderful week ahead.